Hey guys, I'm really struggling to come up with an introduction for this and how to say hi to the camera. I don't know why, I've just gotten really awkward. So I'm just gonna get into it, I'm just gonna get into it. First things first, I have new nails. Can you see them? If I focus, will you see them? You can't see them. Okay, just compliment them anyway. They're really pretty, compliment them anyway. I'll put a picture up. Today I'm going to be giving my full Celinization, that's my name, a comprehensive guide to journaling. And I say it's slightly, not necessarily controversial, it's not controversial at all, it's literally journaling, but it's a little bit different to some of the journaling guides I've been seeing, because people are applying way too many rules to journaling. Like, you're literally talking to yourself on paper. There doesn't need to be that many rules. So I'm going to give you my rule book to what works. My qualifications are these journals. Well, some may call me a journal fiend. You may call me a journal whore, if you like. I might like it. Let's begin. Okay, so my first rule, you might say, is decorate your journal. Not everyone wants to do this. Some people think it's obnoxious, some people think it's pretentious, some people just don't have the time and CBA. But if you're on this video, then I would assume you just have like a tiny little bit similar to me, and we're a little bit similar. I said that twice. And you want to decorate your journal. I do everything with my eyes before I do anything else, you know. So if I'm going to eat with my eyes. I want my plate to look pretty, and vice versa. Anyway, this is my journal. This is the first journal. Can you see? Let me get out of frame. Okay, so this is my first ever journal that I got into. As you can see, I really took the time with it. You know, I've got James Baldwin, love of my life. I have him tattooed on my body. I've got little postcards. I've got the first ever article. I need the focus. I've got the first ever article I wrote for my University Journalism Society that got published and got a full page spread. I've got little stickers. I've also got a roll of, let me get out of frame again. I've also got a roll of, hello? Okay. I've also got a roll of film, and it's actually pictures of me and some of my closest friends. I've got some postcards. I've got some poetry that I had annotated at university. Here is a poem I really liked at uni when I was studying it, as well as some other stickers. It's not all that grand. It's not anything special or unique or like, oh my god, I'm so different and quirky. It's just, I like it. When I look at this, I'm like, this is a Celine journal. This is something I like. I'm going to enjoy writing in. I'm going to enjoy my process of. And that's what I did it, especially because James is there. James is my homie. I have him tattooed right here. I love that man. Anyway, that's the first rule. Essentially, making it something you want to keep around you, something that is wholly personal to you. Again, like I said, not everyone wants to do that. Some people just like, for example, this is my other journal. Some people just like this. Can you guess which one I write in? Not this one. Because it feels like me. I want to look at this book and feel like it is an extension of myself, feel like it is a part of myself, so I feel safe journaling in it. So yeah, that's the first rule. The second rule is something that every single journaling guide and video I've seen is going to disagree with and probably fight me over, but I literally don't care, is don't start on any given day. I don't care what anyone says, do not start on any given day. If it's a Monday afternoon and you've done absolutely nothing with your week and you feel no emotions whatsoever and you think, oh fuck, like it's time for me to journal, you're not going to journal anything, and you're going to make the situation something that you hate. You're going to make the process something that feels like homework. Don't start on any given day. Do you think I journal every day? No. What you need to do is wait for the right moment. That doesn't mean it needs to be a magical, beautiful, introspective moment. It just needs to be a moment where you feel the urge to vent about something, or to talk about something, or to just put something down, even if it's not profound or important. And that's when you start. That's the day you begin. Maybe you buy this journal on the first Monday of June and you don't write in it, and then you get your heart broken on the last Saturday of September. That is when you start. Obviously, don't make it that big of a gap. It doesn't need to be something that drastic, but like, you're going out with your friends one day, you have a beautiful day, you realize, I think this is something that's going to be a core memory for me and I want to remember every detail. That is the day you start journaling. That is the day you go home and you open your journal. Don't just start, today I looked at the trees, they made me feel one with nature. Just don't do that. Just wait for the right time, because if you do that, if you only wait for the right time to start journaling, then you will actually enjoy the process of journaling. Trust me, I've been doing this. I've been in the game. I am a journaling vet. So don't listen to the rest of them. Okay, the third rule is don't romanticize it. And I know this is the opposite of what people perceive journaling as, but that's the issue, and that's why people struggle with journaling, and that's why some people start for a month, maybe a year, and then stop for the rest of their lives. Stop romanticizing it. No one is thinking about you as much as you are thinking about yourself, and no one cares enough to read your journal. No one wants to see it. No one wants to read it. This is the inner musings of your mind. Treat it as such. No one's going to read this. It doesn't need to be perfect, prim and proper sentences. It doesn't need to be accurate grammar. Preferably, for my sake, it is. But it doesn't need to be. You don't need to have the right punctuation. You don't need to have the perfect handwriting. You don't need to have, beautiful doodles that Picasso would be jealous of.
Hello? Can you please not make fun of my mommy for pronouncing Picasso like that? It was in the heat of the moment.
Just right. I'm going to give you an example of one of my journal entries, right? Okay, it would have been helpful if I had prepped this beforehand. Okay, 18th of August, 2022. Fuck. Do you think I'm joking? That's it. That's the journal entry. No one, I really hate, saying this in a way that sounds rude, but no one cares enough to care about what is in your journal. Unless they are in love with you, no one's gonna read your journal, so stop writing as if someone else is going to read it. Right? It's just, I felt this moment, and saying it didn't help. And, saying it to someone else didn't help, so I was like, give me my journal now. And I opened it. I was in the middle of, a gathering with my friends, and I had just had that feeling. And I opened it, and I wrote, fuck. Done. Book closed. And then the next journal entry was, I think 3 days later. You don't need to romanticize it. You don't need to be the most talented author, the most fantastic writer, the most inquisitive thinker. You just need to think and feel something, have the urge to write it down, and write it down. Now look, don't get me wrong, I am a writer and I am an English student. So I do have I have a 13-page journal entry in here that is one of the most beautiful pieces of writing I've ever written, just about a crush that I had. But I also have a page that says the word fuck. It's not important. It's not important. I just enjoy writing in that way. That is just the way that I end up. Am I in focus? I'm so sorry if I wasn't, but that is just the way I end up writing. You don't have to do that. You don't need to do that. That's it. That's the rule. Do not romanticize it. Just put it down on paper. No one cares what grammar you're using in your journal because no one cares enough to read your journal. This isn't for anyone. Maybe you have this thought of my kids are going to read it when I die. If you're dead, your kids are going to be more interested in knowing what you're talking about than knowing how you articulated it. Good point. Moving on. Did I just say good point to myself? Did I just praise myself? I think I did. The fourth rule is basically an extension. Why can't I pronounce that word? The fourth rule is basically an extension of the last one, which is do not limit it to profound epiphanies and realizations and, oh my god, my life has been completely changed. It's not. This is literally, think of it as a written extension of your brain. You do not need to do all of that. You're doing too much. I have a page in here that is literally a recipe for my favorite cake that my grandma makes, but she just doesn't know the recipe. She just does it by eye, and I had to sit and hawk eye her hands as she was making it and be like, pause, 1 cup, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't need to be an epiphany. It doesn't need to be something magical. Every time you write in your journal shouldn't be something beautiful. Otherwise you're going to get disheartened and you're gonna get sad and you're never gonna journal again. I accidentally forgot my work notebook with me, and I took this into my work meeting and I took meeting notes. I have sketches in here, let me show you. What is that? What is that? What is that? I thought, I was I'm gonna sketch some eyeballs. Why? But I did it, because who's gonna tell me not to? What are you gonna do about it? You gonna shoot me? Well, it's too bleeding late.
I've done it now, it's too bleeding late. What are they gonna do? What's going to happen? Going to shoot me? I doubt it. They'll have to catch me first. I'm like a whippet.
Anyway, and then I've got a letter to someone that is no longer in my life. It's a 14-page letter that I wrote to them because they really, really hurt my feelings and I don't want them in my life anymore, so I don't want to contact them. But I wrote the letter anyway. I've got, I do poetry, I do stand-up poetry, and I've just got it printed out so that I could use it. So because I actually didn't want to use my phone, so I wanted to look aesthetic, so I just put the poem in my notebook so I could read it out of the notebook. It's just you. It's just what you want it to be. Stop trying to make your journal look like other people's journals, because it never will. Your brain doesn't look like other people's brains. Stop trying to make your journal look like it. You know, I have, after every holiday or every trip or summer vacation, I have a 1 or 2 page numbered list of, you know, like, these are things I never want to forget about this holiday. And I just bullet point them. Just like brief little, you know, eating ice cream on the beach for the first time, or doing this for the first time, or like going here, blah, 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 blah. Like, it's honestly for you. And the second you release the shackles of just expectation when it comes to journalism, you will truly be freed. You will truly experience life like you've never experienced it before. Oh my god, like all of my rules keep jumbling up because I just ramble on so much. Experiment with mediums. Like I said, it doesn't just need to be journal entries. Half of my journal is poetry. So, there are some sketches in there. There are some drawings in there. They don't have to be good. I'm not an artist. I don't know how to draw. I've got about 65 minutes. Let me show you. So there's this, for example, on a page where I didn't want to forget a certain moment with a friend of mine, and I wrote like an entire journal entry, and then just to pin it, I sketched the moment. Like, I just sketched it so that I would remember it. I could remember like the conversation I had with her, and you know, everything that we were doing and all of that. And then I journaled, and then I wrote like all of my musings about that moment. And I've got recipes in there, and I've got meeting notes in there, and I've just got like, sometimes I just kind of like stick a sticker on a page and I'm like, yep, journaling done for the day. But yeah, so experiment with mediums. You know, you are not limited. Once again, it is the freedom of your brain. My penultimate rule, it technically is the last rule, but I just thought if I do one. My penultimate rule is be painfully honest with yourself, basically. Like, be, when it's necessary and when the moment comes for you to actually be expressing something into your journal, be honest and be vulnerable, because like I said, no one cares. No one is reading your journal. No one wants to know what you've written in it. No one's going to read your journal and go, what a loser. Who's reading your journal? Like, be vulnerable, be vulnerable. I think I have a 20-page journal entry that I wrote. I like to stream of consciousness it sometimes when I'm in a mood where I really just need to pour my feelings into it. I stream of consciousness it. I'll put one song I know that's going to trigger those emotions, and I'm going to have it on repeat for maybe like an hour, and it's just going to be repeating in my brain so it zones out. It's like white noise. And I stream of consciousness that shit, and I just write it, and I start crying sometimes I don't cry, sometimes I'm angry and I'm ripping the page, but it's just, be vulnerable and be honest and be completely open with yourself, because you are the only person that this book matters for. Even if someone does sneak into your room and go, loser, like, it doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, they have never experienced any real emotion to the truest form of honesty, and you have. So no one cares. No one cares. You win. You win, because at the very least, you've had a meltdown. You've written a 26-page journal entry about this one thing that you think none of your friends want to hear about anymore, but you want to hear about it because you're the one feeling it. At the very least, you come out of that moment feeling a little bit relieved. You've vented. You've gotten it out the system. That's at the very least. At the very most, you've come to an understanding about yourself. You've come to an understanding about the moment. You've sort of just understood why you feel a certain way, or how you actually feel about a situation. Stop caring about them. No one cares about them. That's my point. Just be honest, just be vulnerable, because no one cares. We all think about ourselves so much more than anyone else thinks about us, and that is okay. That is normal. We are all the centers of our very own universe, so we may as well utilize it and speak to ourselves instead of speaking to other people. Okay, no, that's bad advice. Speak to people. But you know what I mean. Anyway, my final piece of advice is, this isn't necessary, but it is for me. Invest in a good pen. Invest in a good pen. If I'm not journaling with my Muji, I'm not journaling. I can't do it. I have messy literature student handwriting. It's very much like a mixture between regular handwriting and cursive, and like, I don't follow any of the rules and it's done really wrong. But if I use any other pen other than like my Muji, the really fine ones, like, I don't know, let me get out of the frame. I just fell. Can you see? I don't think that you can see. You know my point. But if I'm not using these, my handwriting is an absolute mess. It's illegible. I can never go back and read it, and it just looks ugly on the page, and I don't like the way that it looks. So invest in a nice pen. It doesn't need to be an expensive one, just a nice pen that you like your handwriting in, or you like your sketches in. And honestly, it will change the game for you. Anyway, thank you for watching. That was my guide on journaling. I hope it was legible. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm still not knowing how to behave in front of the camera. So I'm just gonna say bye.